Welcome back to the Hype Scale, boys. It's an MMA series I'm doing where I'm going over my personal hype and excitement as a fan for a lot of the upcoming big bad fights that we have for the UFC going down for the month of June. And May, it was a rough month, okay? It was a pretty stale time for the boys, but we are back, all right? June is an absolutely stacked month. I'm excited for it. So basically how this series works, man, okay? Think of it as like a spectrum of sorts, no tism here, okay? But just like if I'm putting a fight closer to the left side of the screen, okay? Towards that red section, okay? See the little angry Dana down there in the corner? Yeah, what? What was the question? Yep, you're getting Neil Magny on the main card, okay? The closer you are to the left side of the screen, I'm not feeling the hype. I'm not getting any excitement from it, or really much at all, okay? And again, it is a spectrum here. Right there in the neutral ground is right there in the middle. A solid fight, a good fight, but maybe not one where it's like I'm really putting too much thought or emotion into it until like the week of or the day of. And then obviously the closer you are to the right side of the screen, happy little Dana there, okay? The closer you are to, in my personal opinion, it's a peak fight, okay? I'm getting excited for it. These are the fights where I'm really putting the emotion into it, really putting the thought into it, really pacing back and forth thinking about it, okay? So if it also helps to look at it this way, think of it maybe as like a 1 to a 10, okay? The closer you are to the left side of your screen, it's like a 1 out of 10. The middle ground is like a 5 out of 10, and the right side is a 10 out of 10, okay? So just getting into the first one we got here, man, okay? The one that I feel like a lot of people have not been very hyped for, okay? And they've been pretty damn open about it, but Sean O'Malley versus Merab 2, okay? Hey, guys, please, now that I am champion, I get pay-per-view points. Please buy my merch. Please buy pay-per-view. Merab versus O'Malley 2, man, okay? Obviously, I'm not crazy about this one. I'm going to put it a bit below the neutral ground, okay? There is some level of, I don't even want to say hype here, okay? A bit of interest here, okay? But that's just someone who's going with O'Malley. I think that O'Malley is going to be winning by knockout. Fucking spoiler, but that's part of why it gets me excited, okay? Not necessarily even like I'm an O'Malley fan, but it's like, if I was going with Merab, okay, or if I was like very, very confident in Merab, I'd be even less excited because you know if Merab's gonna win, he ain't finishing O'Malley, okay? He's not devastating him with ground and pound, okay? He's not absolutely just, he's a marauder, this guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's more so gonna be another decision. Now, don't get me wrong, it could be a lot more fun of a fight from the first, but speaking of, man, the first fight was a dud, you know what I mean? And while I understand why they gave O'Malley the rematch, like Merab wanted to fight this summer anyways, okay? He wants the pay-per-view points. If it wasn't gonna be Jan, it was gonna be O'Malley, so it is what it is. So we're getting this. It just feels a bit forced, and it feels like any kind of excitement or hype I have for it, I'm kind of forcing it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Again, like if I wasn't going with O'Malley, if I thought Merab was going to go out and smoke him, I really would care even less about this fight. You know what I mean? But hopefully it's a lot more fun of a fight. Maybe during the week of, I'll get more excited for it or something like that. But really, man, this fight has a hard time generating a lot of hype because we know how the first fight went. We know that Merab is on an absolute tear right now. And O'Malley, as much as we want to think that he can make a lot of improvements in the meantime, in the takedown defense, in the defensive grappling departments, and if he actually puts the pedal to the metal and gets the fuck after it, okay? And if he sees Merab hurt like he did in that 5th round with the nasty-ass knee, okay? And actually capitalizes on it, yeah, dude, we can get a good scrap or a good finish or something like that. And hopefully it's a fun fight. But yeah, it's a bit below neutral here, man. Not absolutely zero concern because, again, it is O'Malley. It is Merab. There are high stakes here. But it just feels like I'm forcing to get myself hyped for it. And I'm sure a lot of us are kind of the same way. You know what I mean? Moving on up next to the goddamn opposite, okay? Kamaru Usman and Joaquin Buckley. I am fucking excited for this fight, okay? This is good matchmaking. It makes sense for both guys. And it's the fight we wanted to see, okay? It's a fight that the fans were asking for. And the UFC actually gave it to us, which is something that we have not been getting a lot lately, okay? So Usman and Buckley, man, if I had to put this in terms of a number, it's like an 8 out of 10, man. I am pretty goddamn excited for this fight. I keep kind of, like, I've been confident in Buckley winning, but dude, people forget, man, like, I could totally see Usman, like, if anyone is going to be able to come off the couch after a year and a half, okay, like some dominant cruise shit and show up in shape, I feel like Usman could be able to do that, okay? He was taking, you know, like, short notice off of the couch, bit of a plumpy little Usman stepping up and facing Khamzat Chimaev, and he gave Khamzat Chimaev his toughest test yet, so I'm not going to doubt the skill set of Usman. He is the second greatest welterweight of all time, okay? And this fight is just exciting, man. Buckley is a shit talker. He's going out of his way to actually promote the fight, and stylistically, this is a fucking banger. It's a perfect 5-rounder. It's a perfect kind of, it's hard to even say number one contender fight, you know what I mean? Because the welterweight division is stacked on motherfucking stacked, so a lot of contenders are earning their way to the title. So Buckley, maybe he might need one more after this, you know what I mean? Usman, they might just give him the shot right away if he does win, someone like that. But at the end of the day, regardless, welterweight being such an insanely exciting division right now makes this an even better fight, because it's one of the most important fights that are going down for the division, not just in terms of the title shot or whatever, but as a fan, man, we appreciate this, okay? If you're a Buckley diehard or an Usman diehard or whatever the fuck, okay, I think a lot of us are excited for this fight, man. I really feel like stylistically it's going to be a stand and bang war. Like, don't get me wrong, both guys are well-rounded, okay? Usman knows how to mix it up on the ground, okay? His wrestling is very, very good, and it's not like smudge fest wrestling, you know what I mean? And Buckley, man, he's becoming one of the most well-rounded dudes there is at welterweight. This whole move to 170, this whole resurgence, okay? He's in his prime right now, and I feel like that's something that, like, maybe the fight I'd be a little bit more excited for if it was like a prime Usman. I know that we're not going to be seeing the best version of Usman, but it's still going to be a goddamn good one that shows up, and it still is the second greatest welterweight of all time. And I feel like Usman is going to be in shape for this one. He knows that if he loses, he's fucking done. So I don't know. It's high stakes. It's a good matchup. I feel like it's going to be pretty stand and bang war. Again, both guys know how to mix it up on the ground. They do have good wrestling, but considering how this fight, like both these guys, I feel like they're going to want to keep it on the feet. I feel like they're more comfortable that way. Anyways, again, not that we can't see them mixing up and shooting a few takedowns in or get a couple of exciting scrambles, but in general, it's going to be a back and forth fight on the feet, in my opinion. And again, even just because people do take it to the ground doesn't mean it's a boring fight. I want to see Usman test Buckley on the ground. I want to see vice versa, you know what I mean? So stylistically, it's a dream. I'm very excited for this fight, you know, not maximum hype, okay? There are things I'm more excited for, but yeah, it's a great fight. Moving on up next to Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. This is going down for the UFC Baku card. That sound mental, dude. I don't know how to say the name of the goddamn country or whatever, but yeah, UFC Baku going down, okay? Fiziev and Bahamondes is the co-main event, I'm pretty sure, and it is a good scrap, but I'm going to put it right there kind of in like the neutral ground, maybe like slightly above neutral, because don't get me wrong, this is a great fight. I think it's going to be an absolute barn burner. Ignacio Bahamondes is an exciting, dynamic, fun striker who has a lot of pop behind his shots, and the fact they went out there and looked good on the ground against Turner and submitted him of all things, and you could argue Turner had the ground game advantage going into that fight, it shows that Bahamondes is stepping up his game, and he's part of the team with Bilal, you know. Hey, you know, me and Bahamondes, you know, this guy's the best in the world, you know, me and him, I'm not even going to shoot a single takedown against this guy, you know, he's dangerous, he's a killer, he's a marauder, all right? So he's training with, you know, Pena as well. Like, that whole team seems to be doing relatively well over the past couple of years, and Bahamondes, it's crazy he's not even ranked. They literally booted him out of the rankings, even though he earned his spot up there, so it's pretty weird in that regard. But Fiziev, I like this matchup for him. He's actually fighting down for once, which I can really, really appreciate, and he's not just out of it anymore. It's a relatively quick turnaround, going from March to June, you know what I mean? Fiziev was gone for a year or two, so seeing him kind of come back as a fully fledged active fighter, and I don't know who's going to win this fight yet. Like, I'm pretty back and forth on it. It's pretty exciting, and I feel like it is going to be a good scrap. It's going to be a barn burner. I feel like it's going to play out primarily on the feet, you know what I mean? And it's going to end in a finish probably, but the reason why it's kind of around like that neutral ground, right in the middle there, kind of a little above, it's just because me personally, at least, like, I'm not too invested in Fiziev or Bahamondes as like a fan. I know that they put on exciting scraps. They're fun to watch, but this is a fight where I'm not really going to be putting too much thought about it until like the week of or something, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, dude, we got Fiziev versus Bahamondes this weekend. Like, that's a sneaky good fucking banger, you know what I mean? But it's not one of those fights where I'm pacing back and forth in my room going like, oh, dude, I don't know what's going to happen about this one, or oh, I just can't wait. I just can't fucking wait. I'm losing sleep over it, you know what I mean? So good scrap, good matchmaking. I like the step up for Bahamondes and the step down for Fiziev. Don't know who's going to win. It's going to be exciting though. I'm going to put it a little above neutral. Moving on up next to Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. This big blob of a motherfucker. This is going down for the exact same card. I'm going to put this, I mean, dude, 1 to 10, I'd probably give it like a 2. I just do not care about this fight. The only thing that's its saving grace is the fact that I fuck with Curtis Blaydes and I'm excited to see him back. And I know that this fight, whoever wins, hopefully at least, Jesus Christ, I don't want to see another Pavlovich versus Rosenstruck, okay? Ngannou versus Lewis, all right? When these heavyweights, all right, they're patient, they're technical, all right, a little back and forth, all right? They're pushing off the gas a little bit, okay? Maintaining the distance, playing it safe. Heavyweight can be absolutely fucking duds, okay? But considering that it's Kuniev's debut, he's going to be looking to put on a statement. He's a finisher in general, and the same with Blaydes. You know, Blaydes isn't going to the distance too often either. So I feel like that's exciting. Like, having Blaydes back is exciting, and having the fact that it probably is going to end in a finish, that's cool. But it's just like, man, I got no hype or investment for this fight. I hate the matchmaking, man. Like, heavyweight is already such a shallow division. I feel like you could have given, I know why they're giving it to Kuniev, blah, blah, blah. Oh, then Ngannou beat him, so we want to prove that the UFC is the best heavyweights in the world. You know what I mean? Like, I know why they did it, but that doesn't make it any less fucking dumb, okay? A lot of people don't know who Kuniev is, and Kuniev, I don't know, man, it's just, I wanted to see something better for Blaydes, and again, it's such a shallow division where it's like, even if Blaydes wins, he's going to just maintain that spot. He's already fought half the top 10, and he's either won or lost that, so I don't know, man. As a Blaydes fan, a Chicago rep, I can really appreciate him being back in general. Why has this fight been booked like 3 times as well? It was going to go down for 313, then it was going to go down for, I forgot whatever card, and now it's going down for this. This is the third time. Oh, it was the Seattle card, and then 313, and then it's now being booked for June, okay? This fight specifically does not deserve to be rebooked this many times, but it goes to show that Big Bad Uncle Dana is very stern on making it, okay? And he can go fuck himself. I'm putting this fight right there by Angry Dana, okay? It's not the absolute worst thing in the world, but it's kind of close, man. You know what I mean? There's barely a couple of things saving it. I really am not excited for it at all. There's barely an investing for me. You know what I mean? Moving on, up next now, man, to Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape. This is going down for UFC 317. Obviously, this is a full-fledged number one contender fight, and I love when there's actually full-fledged number one contendership fights that actually make sense. It's not a random title shot or something that's very forced, or Uncle Dana's got to put one of his boys in there. You know what I'm saying? One of the Nelk boys in the goddamn picture, okay? But I'm just saying, man, it's an actual number one contendership fight that makes sense. Kape has earned it, and he's one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting fighter for the division. He actually talks shit. He's a dynamic, fun striker. Amazing footwork, great head movement, okay? Like, in general, Kape is slick as fuck on the feet, and he has so much power behind his shots to where, like, I think he's going to bring it, okay? I think Kape is going to bring a pretty heavy pace here, okay? And Royval knows how to bring it as well, okay? He can dish it and fucking take it. So, honestly, I'm going to put this fight in the kind of towards the neutral ground, but like solidly above it, okay? Because I'm honestly solidly excited for this fight. It's probably going to be something I get more amped for as I'm getting closer, you know what I mean? But like, I can appreciate this matchmaking. Like, Royval is a fucking dog. The last fight that he had against Tatsuo Taira was a banger. It was a great fight, and Royval knows how to get into these scraps. And he's like a Holloway and a Whitaker, where it's like, he's kind of one of those guys that's holding it down, but he can't exactly beat the champion itself, but he's holding down the division and beating everybody else. So I don't know. I like that Royval has to kind of prove himself here. I like that Kape has to kind of prove himself here, okay? Because Pantoja's beating them both. But in terms of a number one contendership fight for flyweight, this is probably as good as it gets. I feel like stylistically it's going to be a pretty fun fight as well. Royval is well-rounded as fuck, okay? He knows how to mix it up. He looks good offensively and defensively on the ground, and he brings a good pace on the feet. He's a good striker with a very underrated resume. So honestly, Royval doesn't get enough credit, and Kape, I feel like he's finally getting his shot at just that number one contendership fight. This was going to go down. I forgot what fucking month it was. It was semi-recent, you know what I mean? So I like that Kape's being active as fuck again. You know, he fought in December. And then he fought, what month was it when he fought Almabayev? It was semi-recent, bro, but it was sometime in the spring or the winter or whatever. And now he's coming back and he's already fighting again. So active Kape makes us happy, boys, okay? He's great for the division, okay? Great fighter, this guy. Absolutely love him for the division. I love this guy. And Royval's an absolute dog, and I think that he's going to bring it, okay? Both these guys know what's on the line here. And I like that it's also on the same card as the flyweight title fight, okay? The only disgrace about this fight, they better put it on the main card. It absolutely deserves to be on the main card. I know the UFC's hesitant with that, putting big flyweight fights on pay-per-view cards, but dude, if it's not going to be this one, what the hell is it going to be? This is a great fight stylistically. I feel like it's going to be really fun. Whether it goes the distance or it ends in a flashy finish, I don't even think it fucking matters. I feel like we're going to see very high-level flyweights on display here. I like that it's the same card as the title fight. I like when the number one contendership spots add up with that. So yeah, man, I'm excited for it. And not the most in the world. Like, I'm not really amped up for it, not putting too much crazy thought into it, but it's a good scrap. It's good matchmaking, and there's high stakes, you know what I mean? So moving on, up next now, man, to Renato Moicano versus Beneil Dariush. Now, this really does hurt here, but I'm going to put it I'm just not going to bullshit y'all, okay? And I'm a huge Moicano fan, but if I had to put it like 1 to 10 here, maybe like a 3 or a 4, wherever the hell you see it on your screen, like something like that out of 10, man. I liked this fight a lot more when it was getting booked the first time around at UFC 311. Now it's one of those fights where, like, yeah, I'm glad that it makes sense for both guys. It is a good scrap, okay? It is a good fight to have as, like, that first or second fight on a pay-per-view. Don't get me wrong, and it makes sense for both guys, okay? It's going to be a fun scrap, and the betting odds are even closer now than they were at 311 the first time around, so people are kind of more believing in Beneil Dariush here, all right? People forget, man, kind of pick, but in general, it's hard for me personally to generate a lot of hype for Dariush, like, and again, I'm glad that Moicano's got a fight that makes sense for him. He's not going to fucking face the pound-for-pound number 1 on a day's notice or someone like that. But in general, like, the fact that I've kind of been waiting for this fight for the few months that has been going down, and a lot's been going down for the division, or we want it to at least, you know what I mean? It's kind of been stuck in the mud here a little bit, but I feel like it lost a bit of that oomph, okay? Don't get me wrong, it is the right fight to make here, or one of the right ones you could have made for both guys. It is a fine fight to have on the pay-per-view, okay? Moicano's a big name. Dariush is getting a retirement fight here, okay? Old man, middleman Dariush here, all right? But still, I feel like it lost a lot of that oomph that it fucking had before. I don't know why I keep using that as the way I'm describing it. But yeah, it's missing that little something that it had before. It's just, now that it's been a few months later, it's just a little bit watered down now. So it is good matchmaking. It does make sense, but this isn't necessarily the scale of me saying how great of a fight it is, okay? This is the scale saying how hyped I am for the fight. And me personally, man, unfortunately, I'm not really that hyped for this fight anymore, okay? It's fine to have on the pay-per-view. It's solid, but it's hard for me to generate that same excitement that I had the first time I saw it around for 311. You know what I mean? When I first saw it for 311, I'm like, oh, dude, that's a sneaky good banger right there. And Dariush is back. Let's fucking go. And then now it's like, oh, okay, that fight got rebooked. Nice. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I'm going to put it right there. Unfortunately, as a big Moicano fan, it does hurt, but it is what it is, man. Moving on, up next here to Khalil Rountree, taking on Jamal Hill for the main event of UFC Baku. Again, I don't know if I'm botching the fuck out of that name, but you know what? I'm solidly excited for this fight, okay? If I had to maybe put a ranking on it or a number, maybe like a strong 6 out of 10, you know what I mean? It's one of those fights where I'm not really going to be putting too much thought into it like in the weeks going up, but honestly, it's a good enough fight, okay, where I know it's going to be a barn burner, okay? Rountree brings it, especially coming off of that Pereira win where he completely put him, or Pereira loss, sorry, where he completely put himself on the map and showed the fucking dog in him. If you didn't already know, now you know, kid, like some Dana White type shit. But Jamal Hill, man, a lot of people shit on this dude, all right, and I completely understand, all right, it's a bit of a backwards-ass kind of mindset he has going on, all right, a little bit losing a bit of the chromies, homie, okay, but in general, Jamal Hill, man, he does fucking bring it, okay, he did bring it against Yuri Prochazka, okay, some of his fights, they are a bit of duds, but you can't forget that, like, he does have good knockout power, okay, he is, like, this dude's never gonna shoot a takedown for his goddamn life, he still hasn't yet in the UFC, I'm pretty sure, but in general, that's the thing, and you know with him, and you know with Rountree, it's purely gonna be a stand and bang war. Rountree ain't gonna shoot a goddamn takedown. Hill's never shot a goddamn takedown in the UFC. So that's part of the part that like makes me just excited for this fight. It's simple, it's sweet, it's two guys who are coming off of losses and they're kind of like who's gonna maintain a spot in the top 5 and who's gonna get kicked the hell out and they're gonna have to fight someone in like the lower echelon of the division, okay? So for the loser of this, it's going to be a rough kind of comeback. And for the winner of this, they're going to go on and get a pretty big fight in the top 5 or 7 afterwards. So, and in general, stylistically, like I'm saying, like, you know that it's just such a pure striking fucking battle here. It's probably going to end in some kind of devastating finish. You're given 5 rounds for these motherfuckers to just find all the right shots. They hit fucking hard. They bring a good pace. Rountree's on fire right now, and Jamal Hill is the heel of all heels for the company. So, I feel like you can generate hype for it. You know what I mean? It's like a 6 or 7 out of 10 for me, man. Like, I'm solidly excited for this fight, and especially just purely what's going to go down inside the cage, you know what I mean? And again, Jamal Hill likes to fucking chirp, and now Rountree's becoming one of the biggest babyface. It's a classic babyface versus heel matchup here, all right? WWE couldn't write better shit themselves, so yeah, that's where I'm going to put it. I like this fight, man. Good matchmaking. So moving on, glad it got rebooked. Moving on, up next here to Kevin Holland versus Vicente Luque. This one I'm going to put right there in the middle. This is the epitome of a 5 out of 10, the epitome of a neutral ground for me, okay? Because I do like this matchmaking. It's nice to see Holland back at welterweight. He's been active as fuck this year, okay? Fought at 311, lost. RDR, thank you so much for the money. And then he fought once again. I think that was the Gunnar Nelson fight, okay? Now he's already his 3rd fight this year, and it's going to be June. And the dude shows no signs of getting injured anytime soon. So you know what? Holland, he pisses me off sometimes, okay? Not too much, because as long as you don't throw him in a parlay, okay? Trust me, it'll hurt a lot less when he goes out there and shows low fucking fight IQ, okay? Just keep the money out of it, all right? But in general, I get that you don't know which version of Holland's going to show up or whatever the fuck, but I don't even think it's about knowing which version of Holland is going to show up. It's more so about just like, you're going to get the same Holland every time, but I feel like he's beating and losing to the same kind of level of caliber of opponents here. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of am noticing a trend with the people that Holland is losing to, okay? They're a bit of that top 10 level, and Holland just seems like he's beating everybody else. Kind of the jabronis lingering outside the rankings, like a Mikhail Olasejchik or a Gunnar Nelson or some shit like that. You know what I mean? But in general, Holland, still, his jiu-jitsu is really good, okay? He does have a lot of pop behind his shots. He is a good striker, so Holland is solidly well-rounded. He brings excitement. But again, we're just at this point with Kevin Holland where you just kind of, it is hard to just get genuinely excited for it, especially because, again, we're dealing with kind of a who's going to earn a spot in the rankings and who's going to get kicked out of it kind of thing, you know? So it's not like we're dealing with super high stakes here. but it honestly is a good Kevin Holland opponent here, where it's truly kind of unpredictable. I know he's already like a solidly big favorite here or whatever right now, but in general, Luque is a dog, man, and he could totally pull off an upset here. Like, I'm surprised that Holland is the favorite in general. Like, that would be kind of my early pick here or whatever, but I don't know. It's a kind of neutral ground here fight. Like, it's not a fight I'm really going to be thinking about until the week of, but when I remember that it's going to be on the card, I'm like, okay, like, that's a good card. Again, there's people questioning how it's even on the pay-per-view card in general. A lot of people think that's like a prelim kind of fight, but you know what? It is what it is, man. I'm going to appreciate it for what it is. It's right there in the neutral ground. Not going to put too much thought into it or emotional investment until like the week of or something like that, but at the end of the day, it's kind of nice to have. You know, it's a solid scrap. It makes sense for both guys, and I feel like it's going to end in a good finish, you know what I mean? Whether it be on the feet or on the ground, because both guys can do that in all regards, you know? So, yeah, I'm going to put it right there as that smack dab neutral kind of fight. Moving on up next to Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. Now, obviously, I'm sure a lot of y'all are on the same page, okay? This is obviously, I feel like, the best fight of the month. In a fight month where it's like there's a lot of good scraps and a lot of good cards, this is the one that's carrying us through, okay? This is the International Fight Week main event. I mean, if I had to put a number on it, 1 through 10, a strong 8, maybe like a light 9 out of 10. Hey, it's a great fight. It's a great scrap. I feel like the only thing you could have done better than this is Makhachev versus Topuria, but this is a solid second choice for what we could have gotten, okay? Oliveira is a huge fan favorite, a former champion, well-rounded as fuck, dangerous on the feet, but obviously much more dangerous on the ground, okay? Offensively, he's a motherfucker, okay? Very slick submission entries, the most submissions in UFC history, and when you're going against Topuria, who's developed so much in the striking department, to where a lot of people just think he's a fucking purely boxer now. They forget that he actually came into the UFC with a fuck ton of grappling experience, okay? The dude came in with a bunch of submission win in a row after another, and at the end of the day, Topuria is one of those athletes where it's just like, you know, every time he fights, man, you could just feel that, like, this dude deserves to be on the pound for pound scale, okay? Like, he's developing even more. He's in his prime. He's exciting as fuck to watch. He knows how to talk shit, okay? He's carrying 2 whole nations on his shoulders here, okay? He's a finisher. He brings a good pace, okay? And again, like, I'm very curious to see, like I was saying, Oliveira is so good on the ground, and I think that Topuria is as well, but is it to the level of Oliveira? I think, honestly, it's hard to say. Like, yeah, it's one thing, you know, he's out there and he's finishing Bryce Mitchell, who, you know, good grappler, but it ain't no goddamn Charles Oliveira grappler, okay? And yeah, he knocked out Volk, you know, and Volk's well-rounded as fuck, and obviously Holloway, he did take him down a couple of times in the early rounds, shit like that, but in general, man, at lightweight, it's a different story, okay? Does the size matter here, okay? Will Topuria's power translate the same? Because Oliveira's chin is another thing as well. Oliveira, he gets knocked down frequently, okay? Finishing him, it's a different story, okay? It is very hard to finish Oliveira. Like, the dude is an absolute fucking monster here, but in general, knocking him down, okay, him leaving his chin open, okay, and being vulnerable to big shots, and Topuria's insane power that he has. I'm very curious to see if it translates up there at this at lightweight. Will Oliveira's chin and experience be able to hang with the power of Topuria? And will Topuria's just lack of experience kind of dealing with the lightweight weight class? He's only had like one fight up there, and it was against Jai Herbert, and now he's taking on like one of the greatest lightweights of all time in Charles Oliveira. Like, it's a very intriguing fight here. Don't let the betting odds fucking deceive you either, okay? Like, the more days that go by, the more and more I'm inclined to go with Oliveira here, okay? And I just might fucking do that, but Oliveira has a real chance. He's a real sleeper pick of an underdog here, and he's just big of a fan favorite enough to where it's like a lot of people are going to go with him anyways, so you kind of have a lot of people going with both sides here, and I love those kinds of fights where you have a shit ton of people going with side A and you have a shit ton of people going with side B, okay? Don't let the betting odds deceive you. I know Topuria is a huge favorite. Again, a lot of people are going with him, but again, this is a great stylistic matchup here. There's a lot of questions for Topuria, how he's going to deal at lightweight, how he's going to deal against someone specifically like Oliveira. I know that we've been seeing a lot out of him more, but still there are a bunch of questions, you know what I mean? So this is a great, fantastic fight here. The only thing you could have done better than it for the vacant lightweight title, or the lightweight title in general, would have been Makhachev versus Topuria, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's going to be right up there towards peak here. Not exactly peak, okay? It's not the maximum amount of hype here, but it's pretty damn close, okay? Moving on up next to the goddamn opposite, all right? It's the co-main event for the exact same card, okay? Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Kara-France. I'm not crazy about this fight, man. I've been open about this. I mean, we thought that this fight was going down for months and months and months. I feel like we've seen like multiple different dates. It was going to go down for UFC 314. It was going to go down for UFC 316. And now it's for UFC 317. So we all know that Pantoja was going to be facing Kara France next, especially just knowing how Royval and Kape are figuring out who the real number one contender is. And in general, Pantoja's already beaten most of the division and shit like that. So it's like, we knew that this fight was going to happen. And I'm just not crazy about it, man. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good scrap. Like, Kara France could knock him out, and Pantoja is trying to prove himself as the flyweight fucking GOAT. So I can appreciate what both guys are bringing to this fight. And again, I feel like stylistically, like, it will be a fun fight to watch. Pantoja brings a good pressure. Okay, he's very well-rounded. He knows how to mix it up very well. And he got a great finish over Asakura in his last performance, and he's really been putting his name on the map by just racking up these title defenses and just taking on all contenders, not just wanting to get double champ status right away, okay? People are really starting to appreciate Pantoja, all right? A very people forget, man, kind of fighter here. But at the end of the day, it's not enough, bro, to get me personally, like, hyped up. Like, it's a good scrap. I understand the division has really not much going on since Pantoja's beaten most of them already and shit, besides the outliers, like a goddamn Tatsuro Taira or something like that. And he just lost to Royval. So, I don't know. I'm putting it kind of right there in the middle of zero concern and neutral, okay? If I had to put a number on it, like 1 to 10, I don't know, like a 3. And again, with all due respect to both these guys, okay? Like, I get it. I get why it's happening. But if you're asking me how excited I am for it or how hyped I am for it, I'd be bullshitting y'all if I said, like,
oh, actually, like, this is a hardcore stream. It's going to be an absolute war. Only the hardcores are going to appreciate this one.
Shut the fuck up. I got it, okay? You can like this fight. That's fine. But again, I'm not going to bullshit y'all here, man. I really don't care too much. There are interesting aspects to it. I like seeing Pantoja here, okay? Especially getting kind of a big pay-per-view spot. But in general, yeah, it's kind of not a fight I'm too crazy about. You know what I mean? So moving on, up next to the last one we have here. It's Paulo Costa taking on Roman Kopylov, okay? You know what? I'm going to put this like the slightly above neutral one here, okay? I think this is a barn burner. I like seeing Costa fight down in competition, okay? And especially after the Strickland performance, all right? Here's the fucking thing, you guys. I went out there and whooped Costa. I took him to another goddamn split decision. I'm the king of that shit. I'm not a bad guy, you guys. I had to bring the fire out of Costa. He's going to go and want to get a finish now for you motherfuckers. He's going to go to war for you fucking guys, all right? Costa went out there, and after he got pieced up by Strickland, and then after he got pieced up by Whitaker, all right, he's barely won a fight in the last few years, except over, like, Luke Rockhold. He's sick of being patient and technical, he said, okay? He's sick of trying to go round by round. He wants to go back to the earlier days where UFC was on Fox still, okay? And, like, 60% of the fans that are watching the sport right now haven't even seen Costa get a win around that time. The UFC on Fox days. He's taking on Uriah Hill and Yoel Romero and shit, all right? It's been a while since Costa has been truly relevant. Like, again, it's exciting to watch him, okay? For the most part, he does put on exciting fights. Duds here and there. Like, again, the Strickland fight was fucking pain to watch, you know what I mean? But in general, like, Costa, he is, I feel like, gonna bring it in this fight. I like this step down in competition as well, man. I was saying it about Fiziev. I like that these guys are taking the right approach here. They're not just getting these insane random spots, okay? Oh, you've been gone for 2 years? Co-main event versus Justin Gaethje. I get the context behind it. I'm just using that as an example. I get the context why that happened, okay? Shout out Fiziev for taking the fight. In general, though, like, Costa finally not getting some forced co-main event spot of a pay-per-view against a top 5 name where he clearly is just going to go and get outclassed, and he has been every time so far. Roman Kopylov is a winnable fight for him. I understand he's a big favorite right now, but Kopylov, I feel like, yeah, he's been developing a little bit of the grappling. We saw a little bit of that. He actually got a goddamn takedown in against Chris Curtis. So he's been developing a little bit with the grappling since, like, again, getting submitted by Fluffy Hernandez and shit. So if Kopylov, with how good and dangerous of a dynamic kickboxer he is, okay, and he brings a good pace, has a lot of power behind his shots, if he can really find a way to become more well-rounded, you know what I mean, capitalize on the size, mix in the wrestling, you know what I mean, look good defensively as well, and not just like he's helpless down there, okay, looking good in the scrambles, Kopylov is going to be dangerous as fuck for all of the division, okay? And Costa, I like the step down from it, is still winnable, though. Costa's the guy where, especially if he's going to put the pedal to the fucking metal, okay, and get the fuck after it, like, genuinely, I could see this being an absolute I think it's going to be a barn burner regardless. Stylistically, I think it's a fantastic fight. It's going to end in some kind of finish. Both guys are going to bring a heavy pace for different reasons. Kopylov has a huge pay-per-view spot. He's going to want to prove himself. He's getting a big name, and Costa wants to keep his spot in the rankings, because if he loses this one, dude, I mean, we're talking about being one fight away from being cut from the UFC at that point, because then he's going to get somebody just randomly kind of unranked there, one of the upcoming middleweight prospects. Right? We're going to give him the winner of Hermanson versus Rodriguez or someone next. Okay, no offense to those guys, but in general, like when you're going from the Whitakers and the Stricklands to this, like it's crazy to see that for Costa, but I like this for him, man. I like this step down in competition. It makes sense for both guys. They're both gonna bring it for different reasons. They both have shit to prove, and they're both, I feel like they can bring the excitement out of each other. We're gonna see a barn burner and probably see a finish, and even if we don't, I feel like this has fight of the month or fight of the year potential here. I really mean that. So yeah, I'm gonna put it like slightly above the neutral ground. Like I am excited for this fight a little bit here. You know what I mean? It's a good fight to have. I wouldn't exactly say the featured fight of a pay-per-view, but you know what? I'm glad that we are gonna get to see it, and it is kind of pay-per-view worthy a little bit there. You know what I mean? So I know some people are saying it's not, but I get it. I get it. So yeah, that is going to be it here though, man. These are the kind of big main fights for the month of June. Okay, again, I'm not going to be talking about like Alonzo Menefield versus Omar Sy. Like, don't get me wrong, like there's solid scraps like that and shit like that, but I try to focus pretty much on the big names going down for the month of June. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you think about where I put these fights? Would you do it any differently? Where would you put them? All right, let me know in the comments below. What are some of the fights for June that you're looking the most forward to, the least forward to? All right, who's your best picks, worst picks of the month? Let me know in the comments below. We're just here to shoot some fucking MMA. All right, so I appreciate y'all a lot. Thank you so very much for giving me your time and attention and making this far in the video. I really appreciate it. If you want to like this video, please motherfucking do. If you want to hit subscribe, please motherfucking do. We just hit 1,000 subscribers. All right, I appreciate it so very much, man. It means the world to me. So thanks so very much for making this far in the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. All the smoke here. Appreciate y'all. Hope you guys have a good one, and I will see you all next time.